New American Liberty League. Listen, I know I don't have the face for videos or the voice for podcast. So to all three of you that are going to see this, I'm sorry. I am Daniel Leonardo Hernandez, D. Hearn. This is my son, Emil Alexander Hernandez, my son, in whom I am well pleased. Got a few things we're going to get into today. Just going to go off some of the things people brought up to us last time. Emil, how hard is it in school, just in life in general, at your age, in a world that wants you to be ungodly, in a society that wants to put you in a box, fit all of us into one little box? How hard is it to be an individual these days?
So, for me personally, I think I'm a pretty confident person. I personally don't find it very hard to put myself out there, even if I'm going against the majority. With that being said, I know a lot of people that do feel like pressure and stuff not to necessarily say what they truly believe in or things like that, especially in school, with the peer pressure from students, but not necessarily just students. Actually, I would say majority teachers. People don't necessarily want to speak up against teachers, so they kind of won't say what is on their mind and what they feel is correct.
When I was young, I was that student. I was the student that, when I heard things about global warming or when I heard American history being taught wrong, I was always the one that would speak up. And I'm sure you're that kid too. But how different is it now? Because when I was growing up, kids weren't sensitive. How different is it now maneuvering through being that student with teachers and kids being just so soft and sensitive?
So, sometimes I watch what I say in the sense of trying not to necessarily cause a scene, but I don't do it too much in the sense of we still have to put facts before feelings. The moment we start putting feelings before facts, everything collapses on itself. And yeah, as an individual, we have to realize that we have all the power. And it's only when we give power to things like feelings or to government that we lose that power.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, that's true. I mean, the individual, as individuals, we are so important. We are amazingly strong. We can be and we are amazing as individuals.
And government has no power without us. Without us giving the power to government, they are nothing.
Yeah, I mean, us giving the power to anything, I like to say, and I told you this, I've taught you this growing up, never give credence to the absurd. It is the individual that gives power away. But I will say this, as an individual, as strong as we could be, as amazing as we could be, I truly believe that the first, maybe the most important act and maybe the strongest thing we could do is to be weak, to realize that we all need. As amazing as I could be, I know that without God, I have not even a breath. So I think the first step to becoming that strong individual is you have to be willing to weaken yourself. You have to be willing to accept that, Lord, I need you. My family needs you. My friends need you. We have to first weaken ourselves in order to build back up more stronger than we could ever be. And that's the first step. And then when you start to build back with that mindset, you could truly become amazing. If you don't have God, if you think you know how to love someone, wait till you weaken yourself and realize you need God.
If you don't have God as a foundation, you'll peak at a certain point and then fall back down again. And
Always.
Peak and fall back down again. But if you have God as a solid foundation, you can build and build and build and it won't collapse.
That's right. And also as individuals, we have to realize how limited we are. I don't care if you're two normal guys making a video with 3 people watching, or if you're famous and millions of people listen to what you got to say. No one person is changing the world. No one person is changing everyone's hearts and mind. Only one person has ever done that, and it took him being the Son of God to change the world. You have to be okay knowing that, I'm not going to reach the masses. I'm not going to, just like that, in one video, one post, one song, one movie, one book, whatever it is, you have to be okay realizing that as an individual, you don't change the world like that. But if you, man, if you could reach that one young person, and maybe he's surrounded, like so many kids are today in school, surrounded by liberals, surrounded by people that don't even know they're liberal. This is just how they grew up. If you could reach that one person and open up his mind, get him to start, or her to start thinking for themselves, and then next thing you know, this kid grows older and he's a common sense conservative. That's huge. If you reach that one woman, pregnant woman that doesn't think she could do it, she's on the verge of having an abortion, and man, I got a lot of personal stories like this, but if you could reach that one woman and she doesn't have an abortion, how many lives did you affect in just that one act? If you could, and I'll say this is maybe the most loving thing you could do, maybe the strongest thing you could do as an individual. If you could reach that one person, bring them closer to God, maybe even open their mind to the concept for the first time, and change their life that way, and somewhere between earth and eternity, they truly have an embrace with Messiah, that's huge.
I think we have a good example of this in our family. Our entire bloodline wouldn't be here if it wasn't for an abortion not happening. There was an abortion planned that, through a ton of miracles, didn't happen.
Yep.
And led to our entire bloodline.
Yep. And that same individual stood for what she knew was right, even when her husband didn't want to come to America. She did. And that is the kind of thing, in that way, the individual can truly change the world. But it may not, we just have to be okay with it not looking and being how it does in movies, and maybe how some of us have it in our heads. It's going to happen.
You can still strive for that. You can still strive to get a big audience. And things like the internet have made that a lot easier modern day. But especially in the beginning, you have to be okay with it being smaller in terms of size. But just try to be as impactful as possible to the people that are listening to you.
That's right. And not only the people that are listening to you, it's really the small, and it's not even the big things sometimes. Sure, like he said, it can be, but sometimes it's the small things that you do in a godly way. I'm talking about even if you do it consistently, the way you are with your family, your wife, your kids, that's great. Always be that way. Let them see that. But the way you work, the way you run a business, the way you drive, the way you interact with people, all these small things, if you do them consistently in a godly way, you become an example to people. Just, yes, the big things are great, they matter, but those small things matter too. So
there's something you said has had an effect on people, which is something you wouldn't have even thought about beforehand. But just simply having water bottles in your car and peanuts to give to the homeless. You said people that pointed that out to you.
Yeah, so in my work truck, in my lunch cooler, I always bring bottled waters and a little pack of trail mix. And just because, we're called to help people, but we also have to be smart. If you hand them money, where is that money going? No, I want to help you, but I want to give you water and trail mix. So You know, anytime I have an opportunity, water, trail mix, a 30 pack of trail mix costs $10. It lasts me a month or more. A 24 pack of water is what? $4 or $5?
Yeah.
Like you could do these little things consistently, very easy. But yes, people have seen me doing this around town and have mentioned it to me. Just do the small things right. Weaken yourself so that you could build yourself. And when you build yourself as an individual, you have to build yourself strong. You have to be strong. And this goes for male and females. But at the end of the day, I'm talking mostly men. This is mostly
And
the
it will
men.
look different. It will look different what being strong as a woman looks like versus being strong as a man. They have two different priority sets.
Yes, but as a man, you have to be strong. You have to be capable of violence. You, not saying you wish for it, but you have to be the strongest. You have to be the most violent. You have to have good money. You have to have good knowledge to profess. You have to build yourself up to this level, and not for you, but for the people around you. Because if you're limited as a man, you can only give limitedly.
So much.
Right. So I have a home full of people that at my age right now, eventually Emil will be able to whip my ass. But for now, I am the strongest, most violent person in my house. I would die protecting a hair on the head of anyone in my family. I buy all the food here. I'm the biggest person here. I could eat all the food here I wanted to, but I would starve before I let anyone else go hungry.
It's also not noble as a man to be weak. If you're a weak man who doesn't hurt anyone, well, you don't have the capability to. Whereas if you're a strong man who doesn't hurt anyone, well, then you're noble. Then there's something that speaks on your character. When you're weak, you don't have the capability to hurt anyone, so we wouldn't know what you would do if you were strong.
That's right. You have to, yes, you have to be strong, you have to be violent, but you also have to be in control, which takes strength. I pray I never have to be violent to protect anyone. And I'm not just talking for me. I'm talking for all men, and moms too. You pray that you don't have to be violent to protect your children. I'd even protect, and I could say this for all men also. We will protect a stranger's children. I will protect a female I've never seen in my life, and I'm talking for most men, 99% of men, I believe. But in order to be that protector, you have to be capable of violence. You have to be strong. What do they say? Provide, protect, profess. As a man, you have to build yourself up as much as you can, and then give of yourself.
And the ways to do that is through multiple things. For one thing he said, trusting in God and building a foundation off of him. Getting strong would be from things like doing the gym, staying in good cardio shape, things of that nature. And in terms of you also want to be intellectually strong. So reading books, listening to smart people and things of that nature, and just overall learning for yourself.
That's right. And part of that is, again, weakening yourself. It's, again, weakening yourself. Because you can't be a know-it-all. You have to accept, man, I have a lot to learn. I have a lot to read. I can gain something from this person's advice or that person's advice. Going back to one of the things we talked about, the most caring thing an individual could do, and I do believe what we just talked about is the most masculine thing you could do. You sacrifice yourself to build yourself up, to give it all to others. That is the most, and I know society loves to talk about toxic masculinity. No, those are douchebags. Those are boys. That toxic masculinity has nothing to do with men. Men build themselves up so they could be the most giving. But
they're often weak men. Who toxic masculinity refers to is often weak men. The ones that tend to hurt women and things like that, that's not going to be some strong guy. That's going to be some weak guy.
That is the first sign of weakness. If you're capable of hurting a woman, if you're capable of hurting a child, that is the most unmasculine thing you could be. There's nothing masculine about that, toxic or otherwise. That has nothing to do with being a man. That has nothing to do with manhood. Anyway, that's one of those words that they throw around and terms they throw around for political reasons. What I was going to say, going back to the power of an individual, like I said earlier, one of the most loving things you could do, whether you know you're doing it or not, is leading somebody to God. And in my life, two people have done this for me. One was my absolute soulmate, my Yaya, that we talk about all the time. Just growing up, she was very faithful. Just she brought me to God. The second was an absolute stranger. This happened in my mid to late 30s. She was an absolute stranger. So as an individual, whether you're someone's soulmate or a complete stranger, you never know when God may use you for something great in someone's life. Fake sponsored this half hour, and I have to say fake because everybody told me I could get in trouble. So Fake sponsor this half hour. Nike, if you support child labor and LeBron James flopping, make sure your shoes have a check on them. Nike. Let's get into some current event stuff, some things going on in the world. I guess we're always going to have to talk about Trump and Biden. I thought the State of the Union, and wrongly thought the State of the Union was going to be a perfect chance for them to dump Biden and be done with him and set up Harris Trump. I guess they decided to pump him up on Adderall. I got to take an ungodly amount of Adderall to get this guy through an hour-long speech. And it looked like he was on Adderall. You couldn't see, his eyes were like this, like he was mad at everybody. He wouldn't shut up. It was the state of Adderall. And, man, it's going to take, unless they put him in the basement like they did last presidential race, unless they do that again, it's going to take a lot of Adderall to get this man
They're
through
probably
to
going to only
November.
have him do one debate, I'd imagine. Only probably one big debate, if even that.
If I was Trump, I don't know if he could at least call for this just to make it an issue. It probably wouldn't happen. If I was Trump, I would call for him to take a pee test before any debate. I would love to know what is in this man's system
Oh my gosh.
leading up to any speech or any debate. And you know, a lot of people said that was a good State of the Union. The thing is the bar is so low for the corpse that he did not completely collapse on stage, and it's a success. But in the polls show that he got no kind of bump or anything from it. So people, you think people mostly made up their mind by now? I mean, is there really anybody that still doesn't know Biden or Trump?
No, I don't think so. I think most people who would swing have already, really picked.
What percent of people do you think are actually swing voters at this point?
I think it would probably, the younger generation is probably swinging. There's this analogy that when you're young, you vote Democrat. When you get older, you end up voting Republican. So probably the younger generation and third-party people like libertarians. If there's a libertarian-ish Republican candidate, they'd probably move over and vote Republican.
Okay. Maybe swing wasn't the right word. How about undecided? How many people do you think are undecided between Biden and Trump at this point? We had 4 years of Trump. We now have almost 4 years of Biden.
I think everyone's pretty much decided.
Okay. And I agree. I think that whole they gotta move the undecideds, move the undecided, move the independents. I don't buy that. Also, go ahead.
I also think the people that are swinging seems to be Democrats heavily not swinging to Republican, but swinging to not voting.
Yeah, swinging away from Biden.
They've seen how bad Biden is, and they're not going to go out and vote Republican, but they're not going to vote at all.
I agree there. It seems to be a lot of that, but be careful. Like, we're talking, one thing I hear a lot on conservative media is the black vote. Now, 25% of the polls say black and Latino people are supporting Trump, which would be great. Please, black people, wake up to who the Democrat Party is and what their history is and who they still are. But come November, come time to vote, I don't expect it.
I don't expect it to be 25%. It's typically what, 10%?
Yeah, ish.
That's probably about going to be what it is,
yeah.
Especially with the way Democrats rig elections.
Yes, yeah, and that. Also, the race angle of the presidential race hasn't started yet. But trust me, there's going to be a bunch of things in the news and the media leading up to November. We know how they operate. We know how the white liberal media operate. It'll happen. Give it some time. The other thing going on in the race is it looks like a lot, maybe not all, but a lot of the court cases with Trump, the indictments looks like they're finally kind of falling apart. Were you ever worried about that? Those?
No, not necessarily. I think it was quite easy to tell that it was political. There's only certain things. In my mind, I was like, maybe all of this would cause him to just want to drop out. I mean, he's like 80. So maybe he's just like, all this pressure, you know what, I don't want to be president.
Yeah. And maybe that's what they were going for.
I think that is. I think also cases like in New York, they may have been hoping would last and stick longer than what it has.
Just to affect them closer
Just
to the race.
affect them longer. But like you said, they all seem to be falling through now. So
I think one interesting aspect of all these cases is common sense tells you they were trying to hurt Trump. But all these polls show that all these indictments helped him. Now, here's my question. Are the strategists on the left really that dumb, like we love to say? Are they that ignorant? Or did they think all this would actually help Trump and that Trump is beatable? Maybe not true number beatable, but maybe Trump is that one candidate that they knew the deep state would really step in to prevent being back in the White House.
Yeah.
So sometimes we love to say they're ignorant, we love to say they're dumb.
But they're not. I mean, history has proven they're actually quite smart. The way they get government power is unreal. Like LBJ, I mean, his plan came through perfectly, pretty much.
Yeah, we have to stop giving them
ignorance.
The excuse of ignorance. And look, I'm not saying
their voters are bad. Their voters are kind of dumb,
which they've done on purpose also.
Yeah.
The strategy makers on the left, the deep state, that's the thing. I have a hard time picturing who these people are, but whoever it is in our government and the globalists and the media and Hollywood, whoever it is, these people that are all planning together, they're we have to stop thinking they're ignorant. Like he said, the voters may be, but even that is a strategy. So
this isn't a guarantee, but possibly the people that would be like the deep state would likely just be people with a lot of money in the sense of like Rothschilds. I think the investment company is called BlackRock. That's like $2 trillion. So maybe places like that.
Soros.
Yes, George Soros.
Yep. And either way, they're in for very, very powerful, and we have to stop thinking they're ignorant. The other thing that's been in the news, Emil, is the TikTok ban. Me personally, I understand the concept. We know the company that owns TikTok is owned pretty much directly
by the CCP.
By the CCP. So I get it. I don't think they're doing anything much different than our government does through American social media.
Yeah, like Facebook and stuff spies on you like crazy. And even if you don't have social media, the NSA, the National Security Agency, spies on you no matter what you have. As long as you have a phone or a TV in your house, you are being spied on.
Yeah. So, but I get the
not wanting the CCP involved.
Yes, and I also don't like TikTok. I mean, I see videos of what they actually show in China, it's all educational. It's all
Stems
good
type
material.
stuff.
Yeah. And here it's thirst traps, dancing every time you scroll up, or
And of young girls too, not even like
it's trash.
yeah.
It's trash. So where do you stand? Do you? I tend not to support the ban in the way it's being proposed. I would love a company like Rumble or somebody else to buy TikTok at least.
Yeah.
I don't know if they could work something out just in America, let them own it and run the American wing of it. I'm not sure how that would work.
I would come out and just say that bill is trash.
Okay.
If that bill passes, the president gets way too much power. If it was just simply a TikTok ban or trying to get TikTok bought out, I would understand that because of the whole CCP thing. The issue is that the bill gives the president power to ban all social media platforms, like whatever they choose, they can sign to ban it. And so I think it's all social media, and I think there's even different apps and web stuff that's included in that. So if this bill gets passed, it's going to get passed as a TikTok ban. And then under that, they're going to try to sneak in the fact that the president is going to get a massive power bump.
Like the left always does. And by left, that could stand for both parties, but I'll say the left. Like Democrats and the left always do. They find that one issue that sounds good to get their foot in the door, and then they don't stop. They don't stop. In the 90s, I remember in the 90s, we were talking about gay marriage.
Which Biden voted against, by the way.
Which Biden voted against. And I don't, if two men want to live together, whatever. I know what Deuteronomy says, but go for it. You want to share insurance, retirement, go for it. But I don't believe the government should be able to force the state. I mean, the government should be able to force churches to perform or recognize marriages that are not godly. Yeah. And anyway, they used that as their foot in the door in the 90s, gay marriage. And now we're talking about should 8-year-old boys be able to put on puberty blockers because they like the color pink? You know, they always get their foot in the door and then they never stop. That's the thing with the left. They never stop. Back to TikTok.
And Republicans back down
always,
constantly.
Always.
Yeah.
Back to TikTok. Yeah. You know, right now social media is very left. But if it wasn't for social media, if we still just had the Rushes of the world, maybe we would just have Fox. There probably wouldn't be InfoWar channel. You probably wouldn't get all Newsmax, all these other channels we have now. If it wasn't for social media, a lot of these things that we know now would never have got out. So our side has used social media
for good,
effectively and for good. But the moment you give the left too much power, like he said, they will find a way to stop that, and then it could
also
snowball from there.
The moment you release anything that's too much of a power like swing, like what Snowden and Julian Assange did, you're just going to get exiled or something of that nature, thrown in prison or something.
That's if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Rumble, go buy TikTok. Chuck Schumer, which is Jewish, and Jewish guilt is a real thing, by the way. Chuck Schumer came out forcefully calling for Netanyahu to step down and calling for the two-state solution.
Chuck's humor is such trash.
He is absolute human garbage. I say this, I do support the two-state solution. Are you surprised?
In America.
In America. I strongly 100% support the two-state solution in America. Absolutely not in Israel. Absolutely. Don't give up 1 inch of anything, Israel.
It's absurd that America's even trying to pressure Israel into that. Like, we're straying away from God every second that passes. Our government is, not necessarily the people. The people are as well, though.
Eventually, there's going to be a last straw, and you start
going after God's chosen people.
You start defending Israel's enemies. I'm telling you right now, that is not where we want to be as a nation. Remember, Iran funds much of what's going on. We have sent Iran billions. Sometimes we're just not on the right side. Our government is just not on the right side. As Americans, we just have to accept that.
Biden has been under 2 presidencies that have done it. Obama sent billions during his presidency, and Joe Biden was vice president for that. In this presidency, just a few months before the October 7th attack, Biden also
2 months
sent
before.
billions.
Yep. So yeah, you don't as a nation, we don't want to side against Israel. That's just not where we want to be. The other thing, who do Jewish people historically, especially modern times, in America, who do they mostly vote for?
They tend to vote leftist. They tend to vote Democrat for some reason, which is terrible. They never should, considering Democrats hate them for the most part. But
I mean, it's funny. These people, they love to call every conservative
a Nazi.
Every conservative is a Nazi. Trump is Hitler, but they are socialists, like the Nazis, that seem to support everyone who hates Israel. But we're the Nazis, of course. Fake sponsor. Fake sponsor. I got nothing. You got any fake sponsors?
No, I don't think
I should really put some more time and effort into this. D. Hearn Corp. This is a real sponsor. D. Hearn Corp. Pray, build, bless. D. Hearn Corp. So after the last show, a lot of people have asked me to talk more about crypto.
Man, that's a bad idea, guys.
I guess there's one XRP, which is Ripple, I believe, that some countries are actually warming up to as a legit trading currency.
Yeah.
That could be very dangerous for our dollar. Also, I do, even though I'm not a big crypto guy, I do have an investment in it. Thank you, Eddie Oliva.
And we're going to be buying BITI, probably on the way down.
Yeah, so I got ARK B. I guess we'll get into some investment money stuff too now. I bought some ARK B, which is an ARK fund that is a Bitcoin bull. So as Bitcoin goes up, ARK B goes up. Personally, I think I could probably run that till Bitcoin probably hits about 130. And then with the money I make off of that, we're going to get into an inverse, which I told you guys about last week, and Emil found us one. What is it?
BITI. It seems to be a 1-to-1 inverse of Bitcoin.
Right. It's about $6 right now. Let Bitcoin cap out. You'll be able to get it a lot cheaper. Timing has to be really good, so do your research. Keep an eye on it. This is my thing about Bitcoin. If you would be interested in Bitcoin, would it be about the actual coin itself? Would it be about the currency, or would it be about cash?
So, for me personally, I know me and you have kind of different perspectives on this. I actually, it would be for both. It would be for one to get cash, but in a world where government didn't have so much power and overreach to just stop it, it would be really nice to have a currency that could fight against the US dollar. With that being said, in the world we actually live in, if it does become a real threat, the federal government will just totally crush it.
I agree. Not just our federal government, but world governments.
Yeah.
And this is why, as much as I love the idea, I love a currency separate from government, like ours is supposed to be. Ours is supposed to be. You back it with gold, you back it with silver, and whatever it is. It's no longer that. The Federal Reserve is separate from the government, but it's not. Our currency is in huge trouble.
I will add one thing. Although the federal government would crush it in America, I do think certain small countries could eventually go to what you're saying, like Ripple and things like that, but not big enough countries to where it would like really matter.
Also, some oil-rich countries could also do the same.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia maybe.
Yeah, at least temporary.
Like
I'm scared to really make a investment into it for the coin itself. Sure, I love to trade it, make some cash off of it. I'm a little worried about getting involved in it for the coin itself, just because of what he said. If it becomes an actual threat to our government, they'll kill it. They'll squash it. European governments will kill it. They'll squash it. And what they'll tell you is, hey, we squashed this, but come jump into our government-ran digital currency.
Then you're screwed.
Then we're done.
Yeah.
But that's what they're going to sell you.
The one thing I would say is, for one, you could always keep cash on hand and try to fight against government crypto. Or if you want something a little bit more universal, and if things really get bad, you could somewhat rely on maybe something like physical gold. Not like gold stock.
How about brass?
Or like
Yeah,
bullets.
physical brass. If shit really hits the fan,
But I
that's
was
where you want to
meaning
be.
for like trading. If we end up setting up like small trading camps and we don't really have a currency set up,
Yeah.
we all could use
The
gold
thing
or
is what you just mentioned. We have everything we want crypto to be in cash. Cash, not debit cards. Cash. We have it. Easy to hide from the government. Easy to keep at home.
The issue is it's just paper. At the end of the day, cash is...
That's true. It's just the idea
Yeah,
that it
it's
has
just an
value that gives
idea.
it value.
So if things ever hit the fan, paper isn't saving you at all.
Yep. So when it comes to crypto, that's kind of where I'm at right now. But learn for yourself. Do your own research. Keep an eye on it. Dallas in the back making all kind of noise. Next show, probably 2 weeks to a month. What do you think?
Yeah.
We did it on a 2 week this time. So we just
Probably
kind of
2
play
weeks,
it by ear.
yeah.
Every 2 weeks, that's what we're going to shoot for. Follow the page. Like us on YouTube. If you got any questions, we actually got a few from last time. Reach out to me, however, on the page, however you can. Let us know. You were telling me about a short we did that got the shadow ban.
Oh, yeah. So this may be a coincidence. I don't really think there's a chance it also isn't a coincidence. So I want a chess YouTube page, and I also do I put up the videos on here, and on my chess, I'll start off with the stats on here. So we made the short where the strike through rate, which is just how many people stay on the video, was how many people leave. And that's the biggest metric that usually determines views on a YouTube short. We had it at 72% or something crazy like that. That's the biggest number I think I've ever seen on a short out of the ones I've had. That video had 22 views or 26. Now, on my
the
chess
ban is real.
on my chess YouTube channel, anything that reaches 55% typically hits close to 10,000 views. And this was 15% higher than that. And he got 26.
The page has 800 followers. It had that right around the time COVID hit, and it has not moved up since. And when I check the views on posts I make on a page with 800 followers, and I know that's not a huge number, especially for today's standard, but every post I make will have 14, 20, 40 views. So when our side talks about shadow bans, they are 100% legit.
Yeah.
So go support the page.
The Twitter files also confirm that, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, confirm just what we already knew.
Yeah.
Anyway, we are the new American Liberty League.
Saving the Republic, one listener at a time.